की नोक पर चलने के लिए मजबूर करें, ऐसा विपक्ष होना ही चाहिए।
2024 was a year of turnarounds and comebacks for various political parties. It started on a high for the BJP, which won the state elections of Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan and looked set for a big Lok Sabha victory with the slogan of Ab ki baar 400 par.
Ab ki baar.
But the Congress came up with the idea that if the BJP gets 400 plus seats, it will change the constitution. This hurt the BJP with its tally coming down from 300 plus to just about 240 and the Congress making a comeback with 99 seats. However, the NDA still had a big majority along with the JDU and the TDP, and Narendra Modi created history by becoming the Prime Minister for the third time. Come the state elections of Haryana and Maharashtra, while the Congress was hoping to reap its gains from the Lok Sabha and build on in these two states, BJP registered thumping victories both in Haryana and Maharashtra and has firmly ended the year on a high. Over the next half an hour, we dissect how the year was for the BJP, how the year was for the Congress, and how the year was for the regional parties like the JMM, who've also made a comeback in Jharkhand, and why the BJP is supremely confident now going into 2025. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is known for his ability to bounce back from setbacks, often turning the political narrative back in his favor.
आज पूरा देश कह रहा है.
Nowhere was this more evident than in 2024, a year that began with high confidence, saw a mid-year dip for the BJP and culminated in a dramatic political resurgence with two major victories. Modi's confidence was unmistakable during the November celebrations at the BJP headquarters following the party's resounding win in Maharashtra. The mood at the headquarters was starkly different from the subdued reactions after the BJP's third consecutive victory in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. Although the NDA had secured a historic third consecutive term, the Congress party aimed to challenge the perception of Modi's invincibility. Rahul Gandhi argued that the opposition was just 20 to 30 seats away from toppling the government, despite the Congress securing only 99 seats. Modi was quick to respond, pointing out that the BJP had won more seats than the entire opposition bloc, and the Congress had in the last three general elections combined not been able to win as many seats as the BJP had done in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. 2024 was also a year for some other big positives for the BJP. Number one was the support of the TDP and the JDU, the two allies which helped the BJP cross the majority mark of 272. Nitish Kumar, who has returned to the BJP fold, has now become a very strong member of the NDA, professing his loyalty for the lifetime to the BJP. Another interesting positive that the BJP cites is the assembly election win in Odisha, something that the BJP won against all odds and defeating the long-time political legacy of Naveen Patnaik. The Odisha win, in fact, was a cherry on the cake for the BJP in 2024. What was the big message in 2024 for politically for India?
For India, Modi coming third time. It's a big message. Never ever in Indian history, barring Nehruji's time, any prime minister coming and getting support from people and coming third consecutive term. It's a great thing.
नीतीश जी बीजेपी पक्का साथ है आगे के लिए 25-26
100% हम लोग शुरू से साथ रहे हैं. एब्रेशन रहा एक दो बार. अगर बिहार में चेंज 2005 में आया तो नीतीश जी और बीजेपी ने साथ में परिवर्तन किया वहाँ पर. तो इसलिए मुझे लगता है साथ में परिवर्तन किया. बिहार में जो डेवलपमेंट हुआ उसमें बीजेपी कंधे से कंधे मिला करके नीतीश जी के साथ रही है.
However, the BJP does admit that it fell short of expectations in the Lok Sabha. I am joined by BJP MP मनोज तिवारी जी. मनोज तिवारी जी, पूरा साल 2024 जब शुरू हुआ तो एक हाई से शुरू हुआ. बीजेपी ने 3 स्टेट इलेक्शन जीते थे, फिर लोकसभा आया, उसमें थोड़ी टैली नीचे हुई, पर हरियाणा महाराष्ट्र के साथ आपने बीजेपी ने धमाकेदार अंत किया है 2024 का. आप कैसे देखते हैं पूरे साल को?
2024 बहुत यादगार वर्ष है भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लिए, और हम लोगों ने मैक्सिमम जीत अर्जित की है। लोकसभा के चुनाव में हम जैसा सोचते थे वैसा हमारा रिजल्ट जरूर नहीं आया, लेकिन तीसरी बार प्रधानमंत्री बनना नरेंद्र मोदी जी का इसी देश के लोगों ने सब संभव करके दिखाया। फिर उसके बाद राजनीतिक पंडितों का एक आकलन था कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सीट कम हुई है तो उसको कई लोग ताने मारते रहे हमें, मगर उसके बाद हरियाणा का चुनाव लोगों के सारे अटकलों पे विराम लगा दिया और भारतीय जनता पार्टी को एक ऐसा आशीर्वाद मिला जो इतिहास में दर्ज रहेगा। फिर आगे चुनाव आया, महाराष्ट्र जीते हम। महाराष्ट्र जीते, लेकिन जीतने के साथ ही हरियाणा जीते, लेकिन जीत इतनी बड़ी हुई है कि अनमैच्ड है। पीछे के 50-50 सालों तक ऐसी जीत महाराष्ट्र में नहीं मिली जैसा हमको मिली है। और आगे हमारा विश्वास है कि हमारा ये 2024 भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लिए तो बहुत ही मोटे अक्षरों में लिखा जाएगा,
गोल्डन लेटर्स में।
100% इसको हम कह सकते हैं कि गोल्डन लेटर्स में लिखा जाएगा, मगर हम इससे भी अच्छा करने वाले हैं, ऐसा हमारा विश्वास है।
A key narrative in 2024 also became the issue of crony capitalism versus George Soros. BJP finally got an issue to blunt the opposition's attack.
Well, the Congress party in fact have had to finally eat humble pie after the BJP, after session, raked up the issue of George Soros finally and the connection with the Congress family, especially with Sonia Gandhi. The BJP and of course the ruling side has been constantly saying that, you know, the Congress party has been washing out session after they wanted to target businessman Gautam Adani, first by talking about the Hindenburg report and now recently also talking about the US report which has come out, and of course no facts have come to the fore so far as well. But in a way the Congress party has been feeling a little disillusioned also on the entire matter, because if frontal attacks coming in from the leader of the house in the Rajya Sabha, JP Nadda, and of course Nishikanth Dubey fronting the attack in the Lok Sabha has left them pretty speechless, so much so that at one point in time the Congress party wanted to see if they can actually continue with the discussion on the floor of the house. Also, you know, denting the Congress's chances has been the fact that several parties within the alliance of the UPA have in fact called out the Congress party and exposed them, saying that they were only pursuing one individual's agenda and they do not care about the interests of the common man as well. And that's the reason Samajwadi Party opened the front against them and refused to go to their meetings.
As the year came to a close, the BJP and the Congress were at each other's throats over the issue of Bhimrao Ambedkar. While the BJP says that it is a Congress party which has insulted the legacy and the ideology of Ambedkar for several decades, the Congress attacked Mr. Amit Shah, the Home Minister, saying he had insulted Dr. Ambedkar. This has led to a complete war of words, including a showdown at the Makar Dwar of Parliament between the BJP and the Congress MPs, which led to two BJP MPs even landing in hospital and an FIR against Rahul Gandhi. It is very, very clear that B.R. Ambedkar remains the focal point of Indian politics as the year ended, because both sides know that this is something which rallies the people, which hits a chord with people. The BJP has tasted this in the Lok Sabha elections, where the issue of the constitution, reservations, Ambedkar diverted voters from the BJP towards the Indie bloc, and the Congress knows that this particular narrative on it worked in the Lok Sabha election but hasn't worked in the Haryana and the Maharashtra elections. Parag Thakurji, why did BJP have to come and do this protest today?
You know, during the constitution debate, Congress party stands exposed. Their hatred for Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar has come to the light. They have never believed in the constitution, but they tried to create the fake narrative during the past elections as well. But if you look at the history, it is Pandit Nehru who's, initially campaigned against Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, made him lose the elections as well. He forced Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar to leave the politics as well. It was Pandit Nehru who brought the first amendment, which is the freedom of speech, curbing the freedom of speech. That clearly shows their hatred towards Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. If you look at Indira Gandhi's tenure, during her tenure, they imposed emergency on the country. That clearly shows they never believed in the constitution. And let me also remind one more thing. It is the Morarji Desai government later on who took away that part of the constitution which was giving a right to impose the emergency on the country. That is one. And if you look at the three generations of the Congress party, Pandit Nehru, Indira Ji and Rajiv Gandhi, none of them gave the Bharat Ratna award to Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. It is the non-Congress government who gave the Bharat Ratna award to the Bhimrao Ambedkar. Now when the Prime Minister Modi came, he came out with a Panch Tirth in the name of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, spending thousands of crore rupees on that. It is Prime Minister Modi who started the debate on constitution.
I met Kharge ji and I respect him a lot. He is a very senior person. And he is a good man. I believe he is a good man. But somehow I feel that they all are forced to act in the particular manner in which they are acting by their leadership. Maybe in the Congress party there is one family. It's a family-run party. There is nothing called democracy. They may give party positions to anybody, but there is nothing called democracy in Congress party. It's one family rule, and Mr. Rahul Gandhi behaves like a king. You know? He can throw papers here and there. He can chuck out. He can abuse anybody. He can do anything in Congress party. So, because of that, maybe the Congress party is going down. Otherwise, I feel that there are good people in Congress party who believe in the principles of the democratic norms and also they value the parliamentary democracy. But if one man starts behaving like a king, then the downfall of that party is sure to come, because you can't sustain in that fashion for a long time.
आपको शर्म नहीं आती है क्या राहुल, क्या शर्म नहीं आती है?
लोकतंत्र के इतिहास में आज जो घटना घटी है, कई बार धरने हुए होंगे पुराने सदन के आगे, नए सदन के आगे, लेकिन आज जो राहुल गांधी ने अराजकता फैलाने की कोशिश की, गुंडागर्दी उनके लोगों ने उनके उस काबे पर हुआ और प्रताप सारंगी को धक्का देके गिरा दिया गया, बेहोश हो गए, ये गुंडागर्दी है, गुंडागर्दी। अब ये सदन के अंदर और सदन के बाहर गुंडागर्दी करना चाहते हैं। राहुल गांधी की गुंडागर्दी अब देश बर्दाश्त नहीं करे।
प्रताप सारंगी ने तो ये भी कहा कि राहुल गांधी ने उनको धक्का दिया, उस वजह से वो गिरे हैं।
बिल्कुल, राहुल गांधी जानबूझ करके अराजकता के लिए ही उधर घुसे थे, नहीं तो इधर से नहीं जाते, बगल से रास्ता है जी। ये जानबूझ करके गुंडागर्दी, इसलिए कि जो बाबा साहेब अम्बेडकर के साथ पाप किया है, वो पाप का भंडाफोड़ ना हो, वो पाप उजागर नहीं हो, तो कभी अमित शाह का बहाना, कभी तीसरा बहाना, लेकिन हम गांव-गांव जा कर के ये दिखाने का काम करेंगे कि बाबा साहेब का ये पापी है, इसी पाप में कांग्रेस चलती है।
When in Parliament, the story of Samajwadi Party candidate defeating BJP in Ayodhya, especially after the Ram temple, was a remarkable one. And Avdesh Prasad and his party leaders ensured they reminded the BJP of that.
देवतुल्य मतदाताओं ने, महान जनता ने, प्रभु श्री राम की जनता ने ये संदेश पूरे देश को दिया है कि अब धर्म पर आधारित राजनीति नहीं चलेगी। ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी का उम्मीदवार नहीं हारा है हमारे मुकाबले, बल्कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी की विचारधारा और मानसिकता हारी है। और ये संदेश दिया है इस देश में बाबा साहब भीमराव अंबेडकर का संविधान चलेगा।
इसके पहले हमने देखा कि रीजनल पार्टीज का भी ग्रोथ हुआ, समाजवादी पार्टी इतनी बड़ी पार्टी 37 एमपी के साथ।
नो डाउट, इसके लिए आई कांग्रेचुलेट कि हमारी पार्टी देश में तीसरे नंबर पे है। तो इसी से अंदाजा लगा सकते हो हमारे नेता अखिलेश यादव जी के प्रति लोगों का यकीन और भरोसा, विश्वास बढ़ रहा है।
एक है तो हमें एकजुट रहकर कांग्रेस के खतरनाक खेल को नाकाम करना है।
एक हैं तो सेफ हैं. This became the clarion call from Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2024, and the Prime Minister has said that "Ek hai to safe hai" will be the BJP slogan going national in 2025 as well. The slogan has a history because in the Lok Sabha election we saw Rahul Gandhi say that Samvidhan khatre mein hai and the constitution will be changed if the BJP gets a thumping majority. The BJP has been effectively able to change that narrative by the time 2024 ended with its slogan of Ek hai to safe hai, and which it brought rich dividends to the BJP both in the Haryana and the Maharashtra elections. Going ahead in 2025, the BJP would like to build on this success with the big elections of Delhi and Bihar coming up, and you may see the Prime Minister more and more confident and more assertive on various issues and trying to push the BJP's big agenda on one nation, one poll or the big uniform civil code ahead. On the other side of this break, my colleagues bring you the story of the Congress and the story of the success of the regional parties.
Eminent scholar, world-renowned economist, visionary finance minister, architect of India's economic reforms, two-term Prime Minister, gentleman to a fault. Dr. Manmohan Singh was born in 1932 in Gah in West Punjab, currently Pakistan. A brilliant student, Manmohan Singh, whose family came to India in the partition years, got his master's degree in economics from Punjab University and then earned his doctorate from Oxford. He returned to India to teach economics at Punjab University and later at the Delhi School of Economics. In 1972, Singh became Chief Economic Advisor in the Finance Ministry. He later became the Finance Secretary. In 1982, he served as RBI Governor under then Finance Minister Pranab Mukherjee. He also served as Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commission as well as UGC Chairman. Manmohan Singh's appointment as Finance Minister in 1991 by Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao surprised many, including Singh himself. He took over at a time when the country's fiscal
What began as a high in 2024 did not end very well for the Grand Old Party. A relatively good performance in Lok Sabha, pinning the BJP down to below a simple majority, and then the losses in Haryana and Maharashtra. This has now raised questions over Rahul Gandhi's ability to win elections and an urgent demand for a complete makeover for the party.
The smile and the celebrations didn't last long for the Congress, but at least it ensured that for the first time in a long time, Rahul Gandhi agreed to take a position of power. With the spring in his step, a confident Rahul Gandhi agreed to become the LOP. For long, the Congress refused to acknowledge the PM as PM, saying he had lost the moral right to be on the chair. The Congress thought it had found the magic mantra, Samvidhan khatre mein hai, and upset RSS and overconfident BJP and the 400 par ka nara. But when reality hit, Congress lost Haryana and Maharashtra and questions began to be raised as to whether the Congress and Rahul Gandhi were competent to take on the BJP.
You won the Lok Sabha, your results were pretty good, but you lost in two state elections. So the narrative which is being built up is that the Congress has just lost the mojo. It cannot ever fight the BJP, especially since regional parties are coming up. You agree with this?
Not at all. Let's be very clear. As the principal opposition party, it is the Congress which has the bandwidth, the strength, the presence, and historically also to take on the BJP, it has been the Congress party. Yes, regional parties have their role to play and they are strong in their own areas of strength. But nationally in the Lok Sabha elections, it has always been the Congress that has been the pivot around which everyone comes together. And like we saw in this last Lok Sabha election, the largest party with the pan-India presence and with, Rahul Gandhi ji doing the kind of things he's done in the last year or 2 years with the yatras, So that pan-India presence, the strength of the workers in every state, every district, it's very difficult to replicate that. So I think we all have to work together. The India bloc is stronger than ever, despite whatever reports come in the media. The commitment, the way forward is all done with consensus, and we will take on the BJP both inside the parliament and outside the parliament.
See, one of the biggest fallouts of the Congress's not so good performance in the state polls is its impact on the India bloc. Parties like the Trinamool Congress, Omar Abdullah, Samajwadi Party and AAP have lost faith in the Congress's ability to be the big brother or lead the leadership of the India bloc. And as we head into 2025 with important elections coming up in, say, Delhi and in Bihar, what really is going to be the take on the Congress? Questions are being raised over Rahul Gandhi particularly, and the Congress's demand that it alone has the ability to take on the BJP head-on.
The decision in the bloc is stark and sharp. Parties like TMC, Aam Aadmi Party, Samajwadi Party and the RJD are not keen on Rahul Gandhi and Congress as a boss. They blame the grand old party's faulty and lazy electoral strategy, harping on non-issues which finds little or no traction with the masses like EVMs and crony capitalism.
Time has been ripen to bring Mamata Banerjee as the leader of the Indian Alliance. One must understand, one must forget ego. It doesn't mean that if Mamata Banerjee becomes the leader of the India Alliance, she will be the contesting candidate for the Prime Ministership. That is not there. Point is that to fight against BJP, to fight against Narendra Modi, who is the best person who can give the leadership? The Mamata Banerjee's past history, if you can see, and I am telling you, there is none in the Indian politics who can be compared with Mamata Banerjee's political career and fighting character of the Mamata Banerjee. You must remember the things that Mamata Banerjee alone has destroyed the CPIM, the party who was running the state of West Bengal. Today you can't see the CPIM anywhere. Therefore, you must know, she knows how to fight it out. She knows in an occasion how to rise. And her popularity, no one can ignore. Her popularity is as a leader, as a fighter, no one can ignore.
কংগ্রেস সিপিএম তো কেলাতেও লড়াই করছে। এখানে দেখুন কংগ্রেস সিপিএম সিট শেয়ারিং করেছে, বিজেপির কাছ থেকে কিছু কিছু নিচ্ছে আর দিচ্ছে।
कांग्रेस की वजह से नहीं होगा, ममता को
नहीं। राहुल गांधी तो अब भी इंडिया गठबंधन के नेता नहीं। ये कोई भी कह सकता है कि अच्छा, सब राजनीति में कोई साधु संत तो बन के आते नहीं, सब पद चाहते हैं और वो ये देख रहे हैं। संभवतः उन्होंने इसलिए कहा होगा कि चाहे लोकसभा का चुनाव हो चाहे विधानसभा के चुनाव हो, कांग्रेस ने कहीं अच्छा परफॉर्म कर नहीं पाया।
I just like to say that the Congress party has a long tradition of fighting for the right causes, for believing in our convictions, our principles, and as congressmen, I think we all have a duty, even as opposition, to live up to the expectations of the people of India. And I see the years ahead, it won't be so simple. I think the numbers in Lok Sabha tell a different story. So no matter what the media projection is, what the bravado is, ultimately numbers matter.
There, however, was a silver lining, the win of the Congress-GMM alliance in Jharkhand. The Jharkhand Mukti Morcha delivered another spectacular win, pocketing 56 of the 81 seats in the assembly. The victory tasted sweeter as the Congress too managed to hold on to 16 seats. But from Ranchi to Santhal Pargana, there was only one hero of this win, Hemant Soren.
If Prime Minister Modi, Haryana Chief Minister Saini and Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis are the poster boys of BJP's comeback story this year, then the weight of opposition's expectation has been carried by National Conference's Omar Abdullah and Hemant Soren of the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. Both fended off a very aggressive campaign from the Bharatiya Janata Party, set aside their personal incarceration and yet convinced the voters to give them a clear, thumping majority.
2024 में जब दूसरी बार हेमंत सोरेन जी की जीत हुई, बीजेपी के खिलाफ आपने लड़ाई लड़ी झारखंड में, आपको क्या लगता है सबसे बड़ा कारण क्या था इस कमबैक का?
देखिए, इसलिए कि बीजेपी जो पुराने ढर्रे पर हिंदू मुस्लिम जाति धर्म को लेकर काम कर रही है, उसे जनता नकार चुकी है। आपने अयोध्या में भी देखा कि किस तरह से बीजेपी हार गई, धर्म के नाम पर चुनाव लड़ना चाहती थी। झारखंड झारखंड में इन्होंने बटोगे कटोगे के पोस्टर्स चिपकाए, रात रात भर लोगों के घर में पॉम्पलेट बंटवाए, ऐसे ऐसे वीडियोस सोशल मीडिया टीम को लाकर उन्होंने वायरल किया, जिसमें सिर्फ ऐसा लग रहा था कि जैसे अगर हमारी सरकार बन के आएगी तो सारे मुस्लिम आके हिंदुओं के घर में कब्जा कर लेंगे। इस तरह के गंदे गंदे वीडियो बनाए गए। तो ये तमाम चीज़ें हरकतें करके वो चुनाव के समय में 2-3 दिन के अंदर 10 दिन के अंदर ये पूरी तरह से जनता को गुमराह करना चाहती है और इसे हमारे झारखंड की जनता ने नकार दिया।
In Jammu and Kashmir, the National Conference emerged as the single largest party in Jammu and Kashmir as it won 42 of the 90 seats. The NC-led alliance managed 48 seats, including 2 crucial constituencies of Noshera and Ramban in Jammu division. The next year is going to begin with a bang, with Delhi elections scheduled within the first 2 months of the year.
As we move towards 2025, the political focus shifts to Patna and Delhi. In 2024, Arvind Kejriwal lost his CM-ship to the money laundering case, whereas Nitish Kumar parted ways from the India bloc and renewed his commitment to the Bharatiya Janata Party. Come this new year, how will these two events impact the assembly elections that are scheduled in Bihar and Delhi? Will the voters' mind be impacted by these two events? The clock is ticking as Arvind Kejriwal and Nitish Kumar try and prove their mettle as comeback men of 2025. Thanks for watching. News and updates continue.